Hello, welcome or welcome back. I am Andrea B. Happy Monday to me, happy day to you, whatever day it is. Today I have ice cold water in my semi new water bottle, new to you all. And cheers. Boop. So, today's video, I want to start with how important it is to listen to understand and gather as much information as necessary before judging and trying to fix something, but making sure we have all the information we need in order to figure out what solution is best. Now, the reason I think that is so important is because what I see often is that people are very quick to judge and label you, call you names, put you down without gathering the facts. And that doesn't feel good. It can be harsh as well because personally, when I was in that position of being judged, it hurt because I didn't think the person wanted to understand me, get to know me, and at least figure out what I've tried to do, what I've done to make the situation better. And especially growing up too, and not fully, and I guess looking for validation, looking for to fit in, and being judged doesn't feel good because it makes most kids want to do whatever they can to fit in and just wear a mask just to get through the day. And so to be put down and to be dismissed caused me to think I can't be myself, because if this is what it feels like to be myself, I'd rather be someone else. And outside looking in, when someone else is being judged, I can I can hear the tone of the person speaking, and it just, to me, it feels nasty. And if I'm not in that position, it's like I can feel it and I'm taking it on and I'm ready to fight for someone else because they're being judged. And I've learned to take a step back and observe and let people fight their battles unless they do need help, especially kids. As they're learning to stand up for themselves, it's important to know that the adults are advocating for them. And so, and two, maybe that person is doesn't see it the same way I do. So that's another reason why it's important to step back. And as I'm speaking on judgment, that would also be a judgment of me to step in and assume that someone needs to be fought for when maybe they're okay with how they're being spoken to. But to me, I'm automatically taking it on as they're being disrespectful and they're too judgy and critical, yada, yada, yada. So I I don't understand it. Now, I do because I'm thinking about myself, and I know I've been very judgy in the past, and I have to catch myself now to make sure I'm understanding the situation fully. So, the reason I said I don't understand it initially is because it just seems like a knee jerk reaction to automatically label something. And to me, it just seems very rigid and black and white of what's one example? Like if someone likes ketchup and someone says, "Oh, you're nasty for liking ketchup." It's like, "Dang, what? Why is that nasty? Just because you don't like it, you didn't grow up eating it, no one in your household ate it. So what? Why do I have to be nasty for liking ketchup?" And I know that example is small, may seem dumb, but hey, try to get to know me. Why? What do I like about ketchup? Why do I eat it? And maybe I can ask you, why didn't you like ketchup when you tried it? What was it about ketchup that you just don't like? Get to know people, ask questions, and that may be a small example. It may be seen as very playful, and it can also, like I said, be an opportunity to just know people, their preferences, especially if in that ketchup example, I may be able to transfer that information to another area. Like if you say, I don't like it because it's too tangy and this brand had more of a vinegary taste, I can register that and say, well, since I know what your preferences are, maybe I wouldn't recommend this brand of ketchup because it has similarities. Or if I'm preparing a dish for you, I can try to tame the vinegary taste, etc., etc. You see, gathering information helps us to learn and apply. And I just don't understand why people are so quick to judge for that reason, because having all this information can be useful unless you just don't care. That's what I think is, people judge because they don't care to understand. Because if they wanted to understand, I think they do the work. And it's always funny to me when people say, I don't get why you did this. I don't know why you said that, but, and then go on a tangent instead of saying, can you help me understand why you did this? Why did you say this? I'm curious. Can you help me figure this out? It's just so funny that people will do that. And I'm thinking, the source is right here. If you want to know, just ask me and I can help you figure it out, whatever you're confused about. But like I said, some people just don't care to do that work. And I think it's unfortunate, especially, like, it's not unfortunate that people don't care. It's unfortunate to me when people try to assume and just go down a rabbit hole instead of simplifying it, going to the source. So, what I can understand though about why people are so judgmental is because they think they know everything. And going back to the ketchup example, they're telling themselves people that like ketchup are just automatically nasty. Oh, I know this for a fact because if you can stand to eat something like that, you are just nasty. So, the information that people are holding in their brain is how they are able to make these assessments. And again, it's just so black and white. And even in relationships, if what's one saying people always say is, oh, uh, you're staying with this person for cheating on you, couldn't be me. And what's wrong with you? This person is cheating, and oh, that's so stupid. How could you stay with them? Blah, 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 blah. That's exhausting. And now I get it. No one wants to be cheated on. And some situations you may think call for that. Especially if a person has been cheated on back to back to back by the same person, of course it's easy to think this person is dumb for staying with them. I see how much pain you're in, but you are choosing to stay with this person. I don't get it. And so, again, ask those questions. If you don't understand, ask that person. This you've been cheated on 3 times now. Why do you keep going back? And I just think people become closed off when they're judged because nobody wants to hear that. If I'm already in pain from being cheated on, I don't want to hear how stupid I am. Even if there's some truth to it. Sometimes people just don't respond well to that. They want to be validated first. They want to be told that I see your pain and I get why you're hurt. And this may come off as maybe coddling a person, or you may be saying, why am I responsible for choosing how to express myself to take care of this person? Well, think of your intention. What are you trying to communicate by being judgmental, by calling someone stupid and saying, how could you do something this crazy and what's wrong with you? What are you trying to communicate to them? And if you want to be hurtful, if you want to be rude, sounds like you're on the right track. But if you want to be helpful and get the message across, there's a way to be honest and upfront without the nastiness and the disrespect. And so that's an opportunity to look at that purpose. What are you trying to communicate? And do that in a way that to you, I say this all the time, we have no way of knowing how a person will receive our message. All we can do is our best to communicate it the way that we intend to. So if you want someone to know that you're trying to help, just start with how it sounds to you. If it doesn't sound helpful to you, why would you communicate that to another person? And there may be someone out there that's okay with being called stupid, and they may be able to take it and say, wow, you're right. Majority of the time, though, absolutely not. Absolutely. Like I said, majority of the time, people are very sensitive to words. What's that saying? Sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt me. Lies. Lies, lies, lies. Because words hurt people more than they allow themselves to believe. People ruminate on words all the time. If you are an overthinker, you are constantly thinking of what someone said, how they said it, and how it makes you feel. So, and again, on communication, I hear often how a person's tone just killed the whole vibe. You screamed at me, you yelled at me, you said it in this mocking tone. People cannot get past tone because their alarm is going off. There's a difference. There's a reason why yelling and using a calm voice with a smile has a different impact. And I just think that's the best place to start, is rehearsing it, sort of thinking, okay, this is what I want to say, and it sounds okay to me, and try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. If I were hearing this, I may receive it well. So, going back to the reason I came up with this topic anyway, and not just applying it to other people, but also applying it to ourselves, because society has taught us to judge others. And what are we doing with that? We're teaching ourselves what we think of what we do. So if I think you're stupid for being cheated on by the same person 3 times, what am I going to think of myself if I'm in the same predicament? Now, again, the choice may be stupid, but the why, try to figure out the why. Um, is how much of it is about it being okay? Because the person being cheated on likely knows that it's not okay. They likely have been trying to find a way out a long time ago. But there is clearly something preventing them from walking away. And that's what's helpful to understand, because there's going to be a pull of, Lord, I'm trying to get out of this, but I keep being sucked back into this negative, toxic cycle. Help me get out. And that's where therapy comes in, and especially my role as a therapist. We were taught to be interested rather than interesting. Being interested means I want to know, I'm curious, I'm gathering information, I'm trying to understand. Because clearly, just as a professional, clients are coming to me because they know there's a problem. So, what good will I be if I'm saying, yeah, clearly you're in a bad situation, that sucks, and you're dumb for getting yourself in this. They know that. They don't need me to tell them that. They want help getting out of it or finding a way to make it work. Usually that's what it is, because some clients want to make their relationships work through the infidelity, through the poor communication skills. They want to make it work, and I'm not knocking it. That's your life to live. I can't tell you what you should be doing, what's best for you. All I can look at is, if it's not working for you, if it's causing you more pain, then you probably need to make some changes. And whatever those changes look like, there's so many changes to make, but it will be unfair for me to say this is exactly what you need to do as if there's a rule book. No. No, no, no. There are so many ways to make relationships work. But the key is coming together and collaborating. However you both agree on a decision moving forward, or what that decision is, that's up to you. But coming together is the priority. Slight tangent, but my point is, this applies for all relationships. I'm only a therapist for a few hours a week. I'm also human. So I have to apply this information to every relationship, every encounter I have. I am constantly thinking, what can I do to understand this person? What can I do with the information they're giving me? And what am I trying to solve? What will be helpful in this situation? And so it requires not just patience, but just slowing down, because there are so many moving parts, and rather, judging is just so easy, but taking the time to understand people clearly takes time. And people don't want to do that for some reason. I don't know why people don't want to take their time. And I'm saying I don't know, but I'm thinking some people just are lazy, or they don't want to invest the effort. Whatever does not come easy for them, they just don't see it as worth it. And I just think of how much trouble it can save if we all just took our time. And especially in relationships, the biggest thing people report is not feeling heard, not feeling understood, not feeling validated. My feelings aren't acknowledged. My partner just wants to fix everything. And people don't care about that. So when I say majority, I'm not just saying this as if I'm looking from one lens. People are reporting this. People of all walks of life, ages, I guess not all walks of life, because that would probably mean like different species, right? I'm not gonna use a phrase. I don't fully know what that means. So forgive me. But my point is, humans of different backgrounds, culturally, different ages. I have been a therapist for going on 5 years now. And people are constantly coming in saying, I don't feel heard. My partner doesn't acknowledge my feelings. They dismiss my feelings. Why? Because they're not taking the time to fully understand what their spouse is saying. And that's just a whole another subject of why. And from what I've seen, is that people don't know how to be understanding toward themselves, so they can't do it for other people. They struggle to do it. They haven't learned that. So this is why the early childhood years are so very important. That doesn't mean it's too late to learn it if you're an adult, because as I've said in previous videos, I learned all of these skills in my mid 20s. So thank you, Lord. It was not too late for me. And so you're here, you're listening to this message. It's not too late for you. My motto is, as long as we are alive, we can make these changes. I don't care if you're 95. I don't care if you're 55. I don't care how old you are. If you are alive and here, make your last years on earth the best that you can, because the time is now. And because we don't know how much time we have left, let's just make this time beautiful. Let's make this time productive and meaningful, because I personally think being able to say today was the best day is enough. God forbid I'm not here tomorrow. I want today to be the best day. The next 5 years, I want those to be the next 5 years, because how much suffering would I go through if I'm constantly making poor choices? So, another tangent, but my point in that is, as we get older, we can no longer blame our parents and our caregivers, because we are adults and people are going to look at us and say, you should know better by now. What are you going to do about it? Yes, your mom was mean to you. Yes, your dad was mean to you. Your siblings bullied you. That is unfortunate. That is terrible. What can we do about it? We can't change what they did. They're likely not going to apologize for it. They're not going to remember it. They're going to tell you to get over it and say, oh, I was just kidding. It won't change what happened. it's best to learn from that. And I think too, correcting it in the moment, or not correcting, but just acknowledging it in the moment and saying, hey, what you just did was hurtful. I don't like it. Because if we try to go back and get some validation from everything that happened to us as a child, of course, people aren't going to remember. They're going to fight back on it. It's going to be a lot. So I personally learned that whatever I experienced in childhood, forgive those people because I've already given them a second chance. If I did not cut them off as a child, so why make a big fuss out of it now? But moving forward, I have this information and I can choose wisely what to do with it. And that means I won't tolerate what you did or said anymore. I won't put up with it. I can cut you off now and we can try to work through it. We can try to talk about it when necessary. But if nothing changes, I won't put up with this. So maybe that's a growing curve for you, is to forgive. And when I say that, some people can't stand it because they're thinking, no, I don't want to. I'm so angry, yada, yada, yada. In your time, because forgiving doesn't mean everything is all better, but it's a start. Forgive people for just one thing that you can think of. Forgive one person for one thing and just sit with that. Because if you're angry, sit with that anger, but also ask yourself, what am I going to do with this anger? Are you going to tell them? Are you going to ask them not to do something again to help you feel better? That's an option. But most people are just sitting on their anger and silently plotting revenge against someone. So, how effective is that for you to hold that anger? Not effective. So, another tangent, forgive me, but I'm circling it back to why I went on that tangent is because we at some point have to learn to be compassionate toward ourselves, not be so judgmental and harsh and critical, because what I've seen often is that people are judging themselves. For example, I remember having a client that said, I'm sad about this, but I shouldn't be sad. Okay, you're not even allowing yourself to be sad. Just feel that sadness. And I know it doesn't feel good. We don't want to be angry. We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be sad. But it's there. Acknowledge it. Feel it. Don't try to label it as you shouldn't. And you're weak for feeling this way. And it's dumb to be sad over this. Just feel it. Because maybe it's not dumb. Maybe you're not weak. Maybe it's not stupid. Consider that side of it. And it's the same for other people. Consider that side. And then you can say, oh, I understand why you're in this situation. I can see why you did that. It makes so much sense to me. That's what people want. And I know that's what you want. And as I'm starting to wrap this up, I'm thinking of personally how I had to talk with my younger self because there are some choices that my younger self made that I've had to pay for today. And one example is some debt that I got into years ago. And when I think about the time and the purchases I made, I was mad at my younger self. I'm thinking, this is what you cost me because you wanted to use some credit cards and not pay the balance off. Now I'm paying for it today. And I was also able to laugh about it because my thought process was like, wow, you got to live it up back then, and now you you didn't care about me today. You were just trying to wear this mask and portray this lifestyle that you just could not afford. And I know it sounds crazy because, yes, it's my younger self that was being selfish, that was trying to please the wrong people, and now future self is paying for it. So, but do I understand where I was at the time? Absolutely. My younger self did not know any better. She did not think about the future in a responsible way. And I understand why I got in that situation. And because I have that awareness, I know not to do it again. And that's all I can do now is I can be mad at myself, I can put myself down, but it's not going to fix the situation. It's not going to make the debt go away. So pay the debt. And truthfully, I'm pretty sure I could have paid it off at the time, but I just did not want to pay that full amount in that at that time. So, um it was probably a situation of, well, let's use this credit card and I can still have some money to myself instead of saying, well, if I'm going to use this credit card, be prepared to pay it off as soon as possible so that it doesn't roll over. And what happened? You know the rest. So that wraps up my video for today and also my tangent, my rant of how I judge myself for a moment. But like I said, I was able to laugh and have compassion toward my younger self. She got to live her life, and yes, I have to pay for some of those things, and that's all I can do is learn from those choices. So, with all that being said, the biggest thing I encourage you all to do is to take your time when listening and fully listening to understand, because we hear a lot of noise. But are we listening? Are we paying attention? And with that, gather that information, ask the questions that are necessary, start with what you don't know and what you want to figure out. With that, I appreciate you all tuning in, and like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you. Not literally see you, but until next time.